Hi guys, my name's Arian. I was a part of the coaching staff of LAG this past season. I was the analyst of the team, and I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of dive through some of my favorite plays over the past season from LAG. Before I start, I do want to say that this is completely inspired by JP Krez. I've seen him churning out the optic content, letting us see some of his favorite plays from the team, some behind the scenes as well. And it's just got me thinking to kind of show maybe some of my favorite plays as well, and show avid fans or esports fans in general that the difference between second place in the regular season and 11th place in the regular season isn't too dissimilar when it comes to preparation, strategy, and overall just coming up with a game plan when it comes to versing some of these high level teams. The competition in the CDL is so high, and some of the plays that I'm thinking to kind of show you guys are ideas or strats that we've ran, and each inception of them to the point where you can kind of see them not work against the first team that we did it against, not work again against maybe the second team, and then it kind of comes into play against the third team that we tried it against, because we found all the nooks and crannies and managed to get all the learning curves that we could, because it's really hard to come up with a counter strat that works flawlessly on the first go. If it does, then it's always credit to the players, and that's the difference in the league. If you can just kind of execute every time, first time, no questions asked. So yeah, let's kind of just dive straight into it. Yeah, so without further ado, I guess we'll jump straight into a Mercado strat. This strat came up against Toronto Ultra, to be precise. We played them Major 2 qualifiers, and we lost to them. We played them on Mercado. We lost 6-4. We thought it was a really close game, but we thought if it has the chance of being in the map set again, the Major 2 actual tournament, because we played them last week of Major 2 qualifiers and had to play them again for the first round of Major 2. If Mercado was available in the map set, that we probably wanted to take a chance on it, and that's where this strat was first used, the second game of the Major 2 versus Toronto Ultra. On the screen, I've kind of just put down a basic setup that you could see at the time as well, especially, or basic throughout the whole year pretty much of Mercado. It's a 3-man A, three-man A from both sides, and two people holding middle. That B site typically at the start of the game was kind of ignored. You kind of saw teams heavy stacking A because you were able to get into that Grandma's house at the same time, or just before the enemy team if you are on that offense side. So yeah, I guess I'll first show you guys the inspiration behind where the strat came from, which is, I guess, the first step, the preparation part of it. It actually came from a game the week prior, Ultra versus LAT. So we saw Ultra kind of get into a slightly different setup in terms of a 2-2 split, middle and A. The idea that we thought Ultra had was Scrap and Kleenex on the bottom side of the map at A were pretty much playing their lives, playing super slow, looking to kind of get any free picks from anyone getting super aggressive on the A site, and try and get some numbers advantage in that way. The role of Standy and Insight was to see if they can get some picks middle, which could influence LAT into thinking that a B hit was coming into play. So kind of giving up their numbers at A to kind of protect that B point. On the flip side, we do see Envoy on the top side of the map at B. Similar to kind of what I just explained, if Ultra do pick Envoy, you'll see them instantly react, which is where we got the idea from. Envoy will end up kind of getting picked, in which case he initiates basically Ultra to run straight for that B site. So you see Standy, who's creeping up on that tunnel, he backs up and manages to find Envoy, kills him, and that initiates them. Let's go straight to B. Obviously a kill did happen at A as well, at the same time, but for me it's kill Envoy, and that means that the B site's pretty much open. Let's go over towards it. But if we just kind of take it backwards, I guess, we can kind of see from the map, at the start of the round, Envoy has free reign here. He's obviously none the wiser in the play, but he has free reign to work through this site as quick as possible and try and work that pick on the bomb carrier of Standy. If he gets his kill on Standy, he can then choose to play the one-on-one against Insight, or even back up, because what you might have is Scrap might come back through Barbers and try and help out. But it basically just gives Envoy free reign. he can play super aggressive on that B site. So the idea behind the strat is if they get into this 2-2 setup, what we want to do is get Standy picked in the middle of the map, and that gives us instantaneous numbers. And where they already have a sniper on the map, if you're in a 4v3 against a sniper and you can isolate that sniper, you can quickly get rid of him. You can make it a 4v2, and that's pretty much the round over and done with, as long as you kind of just play with your numbers and play with your men. So yeah, there's various things that we have to cover when we go into this strat. Is we wanted to make sure that we can keep Kleenex and Scrap close to A as much as possible, and thinking that similar to LAT, we were at the A site with some presence towards A, so that they kind of stay still, and making sure that the players stay still for as long as possible, so that our version of Envoy, which is Exceed, can make the play as fast as possible. So in order to keep them at A site, we thought the best thing to do is very simple. It's just make sure we use at least 2 players use their tacticals. If we throw our tacticals, which is very common in the rounds, it slows the pace of the game down super fast. The bomb plant doesn't go down as fast as normally. Most people kind of wait to kind of get that pick before they get the A bomb down in Mercado. So we just thought, make sure we use our tacticals, and that gives our presence, and have someone playing this side of the steps, maybe jiggling his shoulders, just seeing if he can get any free picks, kind of keeping the info there. The next thing we wanted to do is make sure that we can keep these 2 players stuck at middle for as long as possible without them kind of getting too antsy. We saw in the video that Standy has no hesitation kind of going forward, creeping up and working down tunnel. So we thought the best thing to do was play this yellow van, or put a sniper to kind of play this far left side of the heady, and play for Standy himself. If he does see Standy here and gets the pick, you get that free info that Insight's probably standing on top of this truck, because their positions are pretty rigid. Or we get the, if Standy is in fact just going for that A site, you have this kind of sniper one-on-one going on in itself. So if I just pull back to the setup that did happen, the last thing we had to do was make sure that they weren't going to be, because the whole play is based on Exceed running out as fast as possible and seeing if you can get a free pick here on Standy, or if Standy's at the A site, a free pick here on Insight. But if Son Ultra, for whatever reason, decide, let's just do a 4-man B hit this round, or a 3-man B hit, whichever it may be, Exceed is basically dead every time. He's not going to come out with his life. So the way we had to preface this was, how do we protect him? So we have our guy at A, we have our guy at middle. That leaves 1 man spare. That's where this play kind of came into fruition. It became a bait play, a dummy play. We're going to use Exceed overall as a dummy, essentially, if they were to go to the B site. And if they weren't going to go to the B site, he was someone who could initiate that kill and that back sniper, or initiate anyone kind of sitting in the back of the map as fast as possible. So we put Joe to basically hide in the B site. He can play at this doorway and watch the middle, just in case anything kind of happened. For Alec could play this van, for example, and Joe could just watch middle. And if Caden runs into this gunfight and ends up dying, Joe will just tuck himself behind this table that's sat there, and make sure that he kind of catches people for surprise, and trust in the fact that Joe could hopefully get a 2-piece, and that our other teammates can shift over and hopefully have them trapped in that B site. So on the basis, if they do go for an A hit and they don't go for this 2-2 split, and Standy just takes the bomb towards A, we also wanted to plan for, if they plant the A site, how we're going to actually retake it. Because the A site is free to plant, so if Ultra do go ahead and plant that bomb very quickly, we have to figure out a way to overtake the site. We thought the best thing to do was retake from Barber side, similar to kind of a hardpoint break. If a team is defending that A site, they'll usually have to leave 1 guy Barber, maybe 2, but for the most part they'll leave 1 guy Barber, and try and play our numbers there, because if we had more numbers towards that Barber side, we knew that the retake was pretty much simple. It's 1 alley you can run down, but we had to make sure at the same time that we weren't allowing the Ultra team to get out of this A site that we've kind of pinned them into. So by that, we wanted Alec to kind of stay hanging back and make sure that he could catch anyone who comes through the back alley, maybe comes through short or the staircases, or even comes through the tunnel as well, to maybe play their lives, get away from that bomb site, drain down the clock. If people escaped, if the enemy team escaped the bomb site, it became a problem, because we were never going to find them. They could take as long as they wanted to kind of check that bomb. We wanted to pin them in, retake quickly, and see if we can kind of cause some chaos around the site. So without further ado, let's finally get into the play. We decided to use it round 1 of the game against Ultra under the basis of we had a plan if they plant A, we had a plan if they plant B, or if they go towards B. And yeah, we decided to do it round 1, and what we'll kind of see is just the slight misexecution of the play, which unfortunately leads to the round loss. So the overarching theme is we want to kind of show you guys when they do go A, what the play actually was. So you'll see they're getting that A bomb site down. They decided to get it down pretty quickly. The tacticals weren't really doing much for them, but we go for that triple setup towards that Barber side and making sure that Alec makes sure that everyone can gets pinned back inside. The learning curve, I guess I'll say, that we got from this round is pretty much, the first thing is the timing has to be impeccable when it comes from Adam challing over the top of that Barber roof. And also the subs just have to make sure they check every corner. You see XE just doesn't check that corner for Kleenex and he ends up getting a 2-piece on both of them. So yeah, I guess to put it simply, that's learning curve number 1. Okay, and I guess to kind of show you guys, we actually decided to do this strat a second time in the game. The players have decided 3-3 round, let's try it again. Let's see if they go for the actual setup this time, which we see Ultra go exactly for it, and Alec actually picks Standy and ends up realizing that that's the bomb. Right there in that moment, Alec gets picked by Insight straight back, so we give him the pick back straight away, and that basically just kind of evened up the numbers and made the play a little bit more harder to win. Exceed was at his angle of looking at anyone who can kind of pick up that bomb, gave it up for a slight second, they've gone and picked it up, so just like he chose to play for the sniper instead, which isn't a bad play, just some poor timing on both ends. And yeah, it kind of showed us that the play does work. They did get into that setup. We had a good strat. I guess that overall arching point I'm trying to come across is sometimes you can prep a strat and it can work. Slight misexecution, I guess, is for lack of a better word, and that round we end up losing it in where the perfect counter strat we thought would have worked perfectly, but yeah, unfortunate. So we end up losing the game to Toronto Ultra, and we drop into the losers bracket against Vegas. We take all of our learnings from that map, we show it to the players, and we make sure that the slight nooks and crannies, we iron them out, we make sure that we get it right next time. And this is the third variation of the strat that I guess I'll show you, which happened the very next day against Vegas. Is they actually went for their B play and they fall for the dummy. This is one of Joe's aces. I think he was top 2 or maybe number 1 in the league for aces, and this is actually one of the aces that he ends up getting. Sends on a good ego chow here onto temp, makes it work. But I guess just to focus back in on the strat is Caden kind of shows himself at B. He gets stunned, so they get the early info that he's there. He dies, tries to get 1. Unfortunately dies, but that sent them into that tin of Mercado, sends them into tin, and Joe ends up picking up 2. And you can see the Vegas players just end up stagnant, not really sure what they can do. We've got them trapped now onto that B site, and yeah, they end up trying to just hit forward, and Joe ends up just cleaning it up and getting the ace. So really good dummy from Exceed. Strat kind of worked perfectly, worked against a completely different team, so it kind of gave us the idea that we can use this against multiple teams. We had the idea of if they go to A, we know we can retake from Barber. If they go to B, we've sent them on a bait strat. So yeah, hopefully you guys understand that strat. Yeah, hope you guys kind of enjoyed that. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. What I want to do now is basically give you guys a round again with player comms, and you guys can kind of just watch it all in fruition, seeing how the players discussed it, and hopefully it makes more sense in the way of which we kind of planned for it to work. And then what I want to do right after that is on the next defensive round, we end up doing the strat again. This time Vegas actually go to the A site. And you can see those issues that we had against Toronto Ultra, and that first time ever trying the strat, we kind of ironed out those nooks and crannies, and you can see the A strat work on back-to-back days. So yeah, let's get into that.
Okay, so he has that cruise still, so they're probably going to use that one of these.
They're probably going to go B, no?
Yeah. What if we did a round? Sure.
Do we do the beast shit for the strat?
Yeah, let's do it. Fuck it.
Alright.
I'm down. So I'm
Yo,
on
Alec,
top,
we save our nades for tunnel in case they go away, okay? Like, we tunnel to the site.
I pulled out tack so I don't get fucking stunned here on this shit.
Through nothing A.
They threw an AB. They're B.
Was that your stun?
That was my stun, yeah. Just cross scan, 2, 2, 3.
There's 2, 1 shot. He's going in 10 right now. 1 shot. There's 2.
No,
One more,
no.
same spot.
No, useless F2 after that.
I got naded. I'm
Use
stun.
absolute.
Their side. Got
Actually,
two.
useless. I have a cross.
Could be court.
I didn't right there.
Could be
Yeah,
court.
back up.
I didn't nade him. Useless.
You're good.
Get my court,
Alec.
yeah.
Yeah, I gave court, okay? I gave court.
Okay.
Nothing mid. Who is it? Clayton?
Clay and
Okay,
Teach.
watch my
Clay and
screen.
Teach.
Gotcha.
Are you
Can you
getting
speak
sack?
courtyard on me? He's court their side door. Okay.
Gotcha.
I don't have tunnel anymore, okay?
Joe's got in. Joe's
Ping
got
their
10.
side. Oh, got heading, stand down. Yeah, I'm yellow van.
Adam, you just gotta watch your pinch in mid.
Yeah.
Like, just play hard for yourself, okay?
Yeah.
You want? He's top.
One's useless on Jeff.
Alright, let's go.
Nice.
Yo,
Chop
what's
on
it?
Joe.
Nice!
Go, Joe.
Joe. Oh shit. I'm done. I don't have men. Okay.
I'm playing it from 10 side though this
Okay,
time,
fine.
dude.
I'll send
They
the
sub
bottom.
mid. Wait, once I make, could be tunnel.
Okay, I'm up.
I don't see anything their side. I'm
Actually,
going
I don't
fast.
see nothing. You guys start going.
I'll see anything either.
Sorry, homies, give me guys. Nothing half full.
I'm only tunnel push through right now. I give
Start going, Ken.
I didn't hit him.
I have a trophy.
I'm still on.
I had to dodge it.
Yeah, we should donate fast.
I'm gonna go fast off this pinch, bro.
Throw tunnel, tunnel, 14 tunnel. Bang, bang.
I tried throwing it over.
Try stretching it. A bomb got out our roof. Weak as fuck, dude.
I'm waiting
to take their side.
I got him.
Nice. I'm gonna take their side.
Adam, I'm
So
gonna
way to go
start
fast, guys.
Going,
Back
going,
alley,
going.
dead.
Nice shot,
One shot. Hand.
Wait. We have time.
I'm ready.
Only head push here.
3, 2, 1, go.
Check what's going
Top.
Sending over.
Only top. They're behind you.
I'm hopping instantly. I'm
Yeah,
gonna use
yeah,
it. Top
yeah,
notch.
yeah.
Fucking shit.
Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully that makes sense in terms of the strat. Hopefully I haven't kind of waffled a bit too much. This is my first time on camera. I'm not really used to doing this, but again, complete inspiration from JP Krez. Thanks to him for kind of putting out the content and inspiring me to do it. If you guys do like the content, let me know. I think I kind of like to do more of these and improve at it as well. I have quite a few plays or strats that come to mind in terms of what we did. If you guys have any questions in terms of how preparation was for league teams, how it was as a member of a league team, I'd love to answer those questions too. Just let me know if you guys like it. Let me know if it makes sense. If you do like it, it'd be great if you can kind of give a like or share it, comment or whatever it may be, reply, I guess. And just let me know that these are pretty good, or what I can do to actually improve, whether it be pausing and more drawings maybe, or yeah, whatever kind of tips you guys have. I'll stop waffling now. Thanks for watching. Peace.